Anyway, we're watching a video. It's called History of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Leaks by P. Jiggles. I was very out of the loop when it came to leaks for Smash in general. I don't like them. I think leaks are pretty lame. But now that there's nothing left to leak, let's get it.
Waking up and seeing an online post about Nintendo saying they're going to reveal it.
I will say on a couple of occasions I got pretty trolled because people would retweet a tweet from like 2 years ago that was just like Nintendo Direct coming July 5th, and it'll be like July 4th, but the tweet that they retweeted were from several years ago, so I'd be like, let's go, we got news, but then it just would be a troll.
A new Smash
Worked on me several times.
Here's the rest of the yet to be announced DLC Fighters 2.
What the heck?
Why do people do this? I don't know. To feel better about themselves, to prove that they can, shallow reasons mostly. A lot of leaks have happened for the Super Smash Bros. Series. One of the most famous leaks of all time actually was the ESRB leak for Smash 3DS, which revealed a bunch of unannounced things about the game.
I think leaks are lame. I think it's cool to let people be surprised. It sucks because, like, you can't even just, like, give leaks to the people who want it. Like, if you could get spoiled by leaks sometimes, and it's, like, up to you to choose whether to believe it or not. But sometimes they're pretty damn believable, you know?
Gigantic leak. You probably already knew about this because this topic has been covered a million times already on YouTube. But you know what I don't see as often?
I know.
People talking about Smash Ultimate leaks specifically.
I've definitely talked about it before on the channel, but Ryu got leaked. They were just going to drop him into the game. And then somebody was like, oh, by the way, this is happening. It's like, oh, me for the prize.
Which Smash Brothers Brawl character would you like to beat up the most?
Jigglypuff.
If you look at Smash Ultimate's full roster, how many characters do you think were leaked?
I guess that's a spoiler. Sure, I don't know.
2, maybe 3. How about I just gray out everyone that wasn't leaked? You ready? 3, 2, 1, bam. Yup.
Every character that wasn't leaked before their official reveal. To be fair, they teased that Chrom would get his chance. But having Dark Samus in the game is cool. Oh, every other character was leaked. Oh.
Pretty much everyone was leaked. No, I'm dead serious. Well, let's just start from the beginning. On March 8th, 2018...
Yeah, Mario is leaked. Yep, yeah, I don't know why they would include that. Like, obviously the original 8 are going to be in the game, yeah?
Alongside saying that it's not a port of Smash 4, even though it does reuse a lot of assets from that game, meaning that a large majority of characters from Smash 4 would make a return. Needless to say, people didn't really believe Vergeben.
No, aren't you unreliable? You were wrong about a lot of this stuff. See, that's the thing about leaks, is that like, most of the time they're just wrong, because anybody can just say whatever the hell they want.
I mean, where would they even get info like that this soon?
To be fair, the entire game leaked like 2 weeks before launch. Yeah, some people in my friend group were playing the early release for Switch Ultimate.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
2 months later, however,
Yeah.
still...
Hey, come on, man. Just subscribe. It's right there. Just do it. I have a girlfriend to feed. Are you against that? It's messed up. It's low.
Well, it was a content creator called Master of Hyrule, who you may have heard of before. He tweeted out that he heard from a source that these 3 characters would return, and on the same day he would also tweet...
How do you get that information? You just have somebody working at Nintendo that's like, by the way, Shulk, Duck Hunt, Bayo, all coming back. You don't get any more information about anybody else. Eat a dick.
Following day, someone else on YouTube called GU King of Heart posted a video in which he said that an anonymous source told him that Nintendo's E3 booth that year would feature props from various Smash characters. He specifically name-dropped Link's Master Sword, Fox's Blaster, Captain Falcon's helmet, Marth's Falchion, a Golden Hammer, Shulk's Monado, Bayonetta's guns and shoes,
So that's how they
and
leaked
a
it?
splatter shot from Splatoon.
Maybe.
Alongside this, he also posted an image of a piece of the new Battlefield stage, which lined up perfectly with Master of Hyrule's image from the day before. And this supported his claims that Shulk and Bayonetta would return as they apparently had those E3 booth props. But what about Duck Hunt? Well, King of Heart...
He the dog.
Later that year, when E3 actually happened and people were able to see Nintendo's booth, it turned out that there really were Smash Fighter props, and one of them was a Hogan's Alley prop from Duck Hunt's Neutral Special. So it's safe to say that whoever Master of Hyrule's source was probably saw or at least knew of Shulk's Monado, Duck Hunt's can, and Bayonetta's guns being props at the event.
That's cool. I think those props are cool. A friend of mine told me about the 1000 Year Door remake before it launched because of a Nintendo worker friend. Shame, for shame.
all the other props King of Hearts claimed there would be actually were there, so that was proven true as well. Although there were even more props beyond that. So whoever King of Hearts' source...
I'm sorry, I want to read this message real quick. If I leak 1,000 different characters for Smash 6 and I get just one right, I will be remembered forever as the guy who got it right instead of the guy who got it wrong 999 times. It's actually very true with a lot of leakers in general. They will just spam, and actually that's just kind of people on social media anyway. They just spam like a 500 like opinions a minute, and then like once they're finally proven right, like 5 years later, they're like, oh, by the way, I called this out. I already knew this was going to happen. It's like, okay, nobody asked. You're spamming. I need those Bayo props. Loaded, preferably.
When people saw this tweet, which was a quote retweet of a post by Nintendo about Smash on Switch, people weren't sure if he meant Smash 4 or a new game.
Bro was probably not supposed to tweet that.
Well, considering that after this tweet gained a lot of traction, his account was deleted, it was safe to assume he meant a new rendering engine for a completely new game. Nice. Anyways, a lot of build up later, E3 2018 finally arrives, and do you remember what the big Smash announcement was on that day? Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's impossibly big claim to fame? That's right, everyone is here. Every single past Smash fighter would return. I can't put into words how big of a deal this was, and still is. So naturally, Nintendo and Sakurai, Smash's director, did everything to keep this hidden from the public. And they succeeded, right? Right?
Oops!
Yeah, okay. Daisy and Ridley were announced in that presentation as newcomers. A bunch of old stages were confirmed to...
Spoiling is so lame, dude. Just let us figure it out. Let us experience it.
Come back. Bomberman
Joker was Game
shown off
Awards,
as an
yeah.
assist trophy. Anyways, after that, Nintendo launched the official Smash Ultimate website since the game had been formally revealed. And on this site there was a bunch of stuff to keep fans satisfied as they waited for the release date. You could look at character renders alongside short videos showing each one off, how the game worked.
Low-key, I'm shocked. I actually, where can you buy the Super Smash Brothers mural? Like the finished one with all the DLC. I'm surprised I don't have that yet.
And what we're interested in right now, listen to samples of new Smash remixes. Originally there were only a handful of songs available, and Nintendo would post a new one every now and then. And if you right-clicked on one of the songs and chose to open the link in a new tab, it would take you to an unlisted YouTube video with the same audio and title of the song on the Smash site. Pretty standard. On July 30th, I don't know how this possibly could have happened, but a couple of hours before that direct went live, the YouTube video that you'd see if you opened the Galaga medley in a new tab was renamed to Bloody Tears / Monster Dance. And in case you don't know, Bloody Tears and Monster Dance are both the names of songs from a little game called Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. Meaning that, yeah, there was gonna be a Castlevania character in the game.
That was the direct. I think they showed like Luigi and Belmont's, right? Maybe more.
And since Simon Belmont is the flagship character of that series, it was safe to assume it'd be him.
It's kind of funny that some of these leaks are just kind of their fault. I like when it's their fault. As opposed to somebody just works there, he's like, by the way, F you.
And wouldn't you know it, a few hours later when the direct started, it opened with a trailer for a new character, namely Mr. Simon himself.
Simon.
So this is a case of Nintendo leaking something themselves, and believe me, this isn't the last time that happened. This is gonna sound stupid, but I think this was an accident. That's obviously what it looks like. And after that, all other songs uploaded to the site would have its YouTube title simply be numbered to avoid this from possibly happening again. Gangplank Galleon being called 12 as it was the 12th song put on the site, and they kept this up all the way until the last song they ever added being Spiral Mountain, which was called...
Damn, so they just stopped giving names to the songs, whatever. I remember when Gangplank Galleon came out, they were like, yo, this is fucking lit. We played that for like days straight because it was a banger to just throw into Smash.
So not too long after the direct, people already found out that it said Spirits. And someone even figured out that the icon for the mode was gonna be a Magatama, an item usually associated with spirits, thus further confirming the name of the mode.
Trash.
So yeah, not really a leak in the literal sense, but still a funny oversight on Nintendo.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's like an oversight on Nintendo's part. I think that they did that kind of thing on purpose. Like if they wanted to hide Spirits mode, like hide it, they just wouldn't show it, right? They showed that they were very like adamant about other stuff, like they stopped changing the names of the songs and just started putting numbers instead, and like I feel like they kind of wanted people to dig into that.
Nintendo's part. You could have just done something like this, Nintendo. For even this,
Exactly.
it's not too hard to make something completely unintelligible. Someone asked him how he feels about getting to perform as Snake again in Smash Ultimate, to which he replied,
I feel very good about it. I'm probably not supposed to say anything, but they haven't recorded any more codecs yet.
and as it turns out, in the full release of the game,
Bro,
there
just
wouldn't be any
spoiling!
new codec calls
That's why they hate David Hayter.
on the Shadow Moses Island stage recorded for the new characters. He was quick to say yes though, indicating that he might be asked by Nintendo to do so at a later date, but it's still funny that for the second time in history, David Hayter accidentally spoiled something about an upcoming Smash game through a Q&A question. On September 14th, 2018, a Reddit user by the name of Noatesty made a series of posts on r/Smash Bros, leaking quite a lot actually. In their first post, they said they used to be a beta tester on Smash Ultimate, which internally was called Cross 2, and they felt like leaking some stuff to piss off the people in charge of the testing team for firing them and supposedly poorly treating the other workers there. Isabel had already been
Incredible way to get like sued. Just be like, yeah, I got fired, so fuck these guys. It's like, okay, well now you're getting sued.
modes would only be accessible via a day 1 patch. Isabel could tether recover to the stage with a fishing rod, the fly swatter from Mario Paint would be an assist trophy,
all true,
and most importantly, and lastly, some random Reddit user on the sub made a post to discuss potential DLC characters for the game, and our good old friend Noatesty replied to that post by just straight up saying that Piranha Plant was going to be the first DLC character, even though they said earlier that day that they wouldn't spoil the DLC character. Also,
what was that guy talking about? What was he cooking here? Crash Bandicoot, wrong. Spyro, wrong. Tracer, very stupid. Mario Maker Mario, wrong. A Gen 7 Pokemon. I don't know who's Gen 7. Octoling, who?
And that they have an alt that resembles Big the Cat from the Sonic series. I guess they just really like Big. Wow. Dang, that's
just right about everything.
Pretty much. Seriously, this was all posted a full 2 months before Ken, Incineroar, and Piranha Plant were officially announced.
Sheesh.
The fact that the first post only has 30 upvotes, and that I didn't hear anything about this until doing research for this video, even though it was over 4 years ago, is proof enough of that. Imagine how much less impactful Piranha Plant's crazy reveal would have been if we all just knew about it already. That's the scary thing about League.
I feel like my reaction when I learned Piranha Plant was going to come out, I was just like, okay. I think I probably said something along the lines of like, this is Sakurai just being like reminding everyone that he decides who the DLC is, you know? That, you know, it's still a Nintendo game at the end of the day.
Short rant aside, there weren't that many big leaks after that before the game released. The biggest one was this infamous image of Ken taunting on the Morai Tower stage, posted by a 4chan user on September 21st.
Who's a rat?
Pichu's ear on the render being cut off is probably just how it was earlier in development, as there are way more unfinalized battle UI renders. Such as
is that still like that?
Pac-Man, whose front paw and arm don't pop out in this image, while they do in the final game. Because this leak ended up being true, Ken's taunt where he gives a thumbs up became synonymous with fake leaks. As after this, many people that create fake leaks would take pictures of them with Ken doing this taunt in the same image. Nintendo posted a video on Twitter promoting a Wendy's college tailgate tour they were holding, where you'd have a chance to play a demo of Smash Ultimate. For about a second, there's a clip of the Mute City SNES stage with an at the time unannounced item on the ground, that being the Healing Sprout Orb. Like I said, this item wasn't announced yet when this was posted.
That's Earthbound, right?
Is a real leak on Nintendo's part, but it's really not that big, just an item. However, many people thought that this item came from Golden Sun, as it supposedly resembles the growth synergy from Golden Sun Dark Dawn, meaning that Isaac, the series' protagonist, was likely to be in the game as a fighter.
Fun fact, I actually played the beta thing. It was at one of the CEO tournaments. I want to say, I don't know if it was it CEO? I'm pretty sure it was CEO. They had Ultimate there that you could play. You just have to stand in a long line for like an hour plus. It was super awesome. And I played, I think you played 2 matches when you get in there. And I played Ike, Mega Man, Mewtwo. Who was the last person I played? I think I might have just played Ike again or something, or like Falcon. I don't really remember what I played as my last one. I don't think ZSS was playable in the beta.
One game store in Mexico, who we don't know which one specifically, either said screw it or made a mistake and physical copies were sold early.
Oops!
Someone who had one of those early copies then dumped the game ROM from their cartridge onto their computer and posted it online, and then people with Switch emulators or modded Switches could download it all over the world and play it early for free.
So that's probably how people got it.
Obvious, all 1,297 base game spirits, with Risky Boots being the last one, and that Camilla and Mithra's spirits specifically were lightly censored for being too revealing. How exactly Squad Strike worked, as that wasn't fully clear yet from the little info we got about it previously.
Squad Strike is sick.
The exact method and order of unlocking characters, with there being a 10-minute cooldown between each unlock battle, and also every character's specific unlock order for clearing classic mode.
This is the unlock order. Do you think they just did this randomly? Or do you think that there was like a reason that they chose this to be the unlock order? You guys Zero Suit earlier than I remember. How laggy is Squad Strike on Switch 2? Like the delay between respawning? That's not bad. I don't think that the character that you played matters.
Namely with some files labeled Jack and some files labeled Brave, the latter of which was added in that 1.1.0 patch 2 days before release. We know nowadays that Jack and Brave are the codenames for Joker and Hero respectively, but these files were discovered before either of them were announced.
Why is his name Jack?
Anyways, that's all the leaks that happened pre-launch. 2 weeks later the game came out, but there was still new content to be added, and as you might expect, that too came with a lot of leaks, though not nearly as much. Pretty much the first post-launch.
Dude, I think Byleth got leaked. I think that's the only one I know about.
This file name format matched with other stages in the game, and we know that Jack referred to Joker, who had already been announced at the time, even though his stage wasn't. So because of this, it was...
That's probably one of those things where, like, when you see that, you know Jack actually means Joker. Mementos,
yes. To be and others like myself were in denial because Mementos is probably the worst and most boring area in the original Persona 5, but it was plain to see this pretty much.
But it's also the most iconic. Beans, what are you doing?
Had a mode called Stage Builder and a mode called Home Run Contest, both of which weren't an ultimate at launch. Well, the fact.
True, I forgot they actually patched in Home Run Contest. That made me very hopeful that they were going to put in like target test or board the platforms or literally anything more fun, and they didn't. So that was cool.
So fans were starting to get antsy for any new information a few months into the game's life. Luckily, a hero by the name of Best Buy had us covered, because on March 31st, they updated their website with a new ad for the Fighter's Pass, and on the ad was, well, look at that, Joker's Smash render. Which, yeah, almost 4 months after his reveal, we still didn't know what it looked like. And what we're interested in, Hero joining Smash as the next DLC character. We already knew about Hero by this point, but we had no idea what his release date was going to be. And since this video was about releases in July, it was safe to assume he was going to release sometime in July, which was already halfway done when this was uploaded. Shortly after this, Nintendo
That's not a leak, bro. That's just news.
Named the video to fan favorites and newest releases Summer. Because, yeah, they weren't supposed to say that Hero would release in July.
Oops!
But the damage was done, as the new update would render them inaccessible due to balance changes. Which is nice, they almost always warn people about this when a new update is coming out.
Cool.
But whoopsie, they weren't supposed to say the specific date the new update would release. So a little while after, when they realized their mistake, they took the tweet down and replaced it with a new one that said the update releases within 7 days. Nice try, guys.
I don't understand. Who cares? Like, why would they change the just give us a date? I don't know.
4th Fighter's Pass slot, who we didn't know who it belonged to yet.
What do you want? Bro, just meowing. Oh, hello. Would you like to watch the history of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate leaks?
For those who don't know who that is, SNK is a video game company, which makes video games, meaning they own rights to some characters, meaning that the next DLC character was going to be an SNK character. Nintendo of course took the page down shortly after, and speculation for which SNK character it might be started going wild.
Dude, it's crazy because like it seems like almost a large majority of leaks were just their fault at this point. Some of it was like other video game selling stores like GameStop or that other one from Mexico. And then probably the next most one was just like ex-employees or current employees or whatever.
Luckily, that's the last time they would leak something themselves regarding Smash Ultimate.
Wow, thank God.
Moving on, look,
They learned.
they're about to announce a new fighter. Cool, awesome. I wonder who it will be. Oh wait, a random Reddit user by the name of Practical Brush 12 makes a post literally 10 minutes before the presentation starts, and they post this. Byleth is the new
How do they
character
know?
with both male and female alt. They used the Sword of the Creator, along
What's
with
up,
3
Don?
legendaries from the other main characters.
Give me your prime.
Also, Cuphead would be a costume for Meat Gunner. What the? How did they know this?
Dude, it's so messed up that not only do they just like spoil the character that's coming out, they're also out here spoiling characters that are not coming out, like in the Mii costumes.
This isn't the last time we would hear from Practical Brush, as they would strike insanely close to a reveal yet again. A new fighter was set to be revealed October 1st, and this time they made a Reddit post 30 minutes before it went live, saying that it was going to be Minecraft Steve. And they also followed up in the comments by saying that Alex, Zombie, and Enderman would be in the game in some form as well. They also said that his smash is a piston.
Holy.
The people who saw this in the time didn't know what they meant by this, so when someone asked, they clarified that they think they mean Final Smash, but they aren't super familiar with Smash, so they weren't sure. That aside, wow, can you believe it? They were
This guy with like no association with Smash or minimal association with Smash, who doesn't know what's going on, is just spoiling shit. It's insane. Like, is that hater energy or is that like he thinks he's a savant? I don't know.
Someone randomly commented, "It's Sora. It will drop on October 5."
Oh wow.
Which, huh? Where did you come from? Later on that same day, in a different 4chan thread about a fake Nintendo Direct leak, someone else who claimed to be a Disney music employee suddenly came in saying that Nintendo called to ask for permission to use several tracks from Kingdom Hearts in a digital event taking place on October 5th, reaffirming that this means Sora is the last Smash character. You'd think, luckily though, almost nobody saw that first comment, and nobody paid attention to the other random comment in the second thread, as people were just dogging on the fake Nintendo Direct leak as usual. Yeah, Pikmin 4, sure buddy, that'll never happen. So one of the biggest Smash reveals in history got leaked, but almost nobody paid attention to it. Anyway, that's currently the last leak chronologically. But I quickly want to talk about our good friend Vergeben real quick. Remember? I mentioned that I would talk about them later in the video. Well, that time is now. So I'm just gonna lightning round all of the things they correctly predicted here, and leave a Smash Wiki page in the description about all their leaks if you feel like reading all that. Yeah, they are such a prominent leaker that they have their own page on the wiki.
Holy.
They said that the Decidueye, Lycanroc, Mimikyu, and Isaac wouldn't be playable, but that Isaac would return as an assist trophy, which was true. And interestingly enough, Mimikyu ended up as a Pokeball summon, basically the same way Isaac ended up. They also said before it was announced that the game would receive DLC, which, I mean, literally everyone saw that coming, so no duh, but they still were right about that. Like I said, they also got a few things wrong, but there's more info about the things they got right that I don't have time to cover right now. So again, go check out the page about all their leaks on Smash Wiki, linked in the description. But yeah, that's it. That's all the real Smash Ultimate leaks I wanted to cover. A very flaccid shoutouts to all leakers out there. Please stop what you're doing. Being spoiled on what would be a cool announcement is one of the worst feelings ever.
A very flaccid shout out. That goes hard. I'm with him though. I'm not a big fan of the leaks, to be honest. But hey, what do you guys think about leaks? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. Him and I will both read it out loud in a different video. Don't check. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Alright guys, what do you think about leaks? You love leaks? Why? Why do you like being spoiled? You don't like surprises? Lame.